If you are a parent of a teenager, you may want to pay attention because, believe it or not, you are not alone. According to a recent study, a whopping 73% of parents feel their relationship with their children has changed since their children have become adolescents. And to help parents revitalize their connection with their teens is psychotherapist Dr. Robi Ludwig, who I also like to call friend. Hello, friend.
Oh, I like to call you my friend too.
How are you?
I am so good. I'm so glad we're talking about this.
Because you are not only a psychotherapist, you are also a parent.
I'm a parent. So I've been there,
Right.
done that.
Yeah.
Continue to do it.
You continue to do it. So I am the parent of two boys, 15 and 18. I know all too well how my relationship with them has really changed. I know it's normal. You want your children to evolve. That's one of the things about being a parent, right? So, but how do parents handle this phase of life? Because it's not like when I was a kid, I didn't have 10,000 distractions.
Right.
Our children do.
Yes, yes. It's such a good question, and I'm glad you said that it's a normal developmental stage, and that's half the battle.
Yeah.
Understanding that our teens need to go through this.
Right.
They need to separate from us. They need to rebel a little bit,
Right.
and you want them to do it at the right time. You don't want somebody rebelling when they're 40 and they blow up their lives.
Right.
So teens at this point need to separate. They need to figure out who they are separate from their parents. Their peers are very important to
Right.
them. And that's why peer group is really important.
Right.
You want to make sure they're hanging out with the right,
Right.
kids. And understand that you can show up for your child, but you also need to give them space. Space is very loving as well.
Right. I think it's interesting too because some parents, you're with your child all summer. Like I talked to a handful of friends who are like, hi, camp mommy over here. I'm already sick of them and they're probably sick of me. And so maybe we all feel like it's under a microscope because they are there every waking moment. And to that point, when you're trying to deliver the message and you don't get the reaction right away, I know for me, I'm like, Gavin, are the lights, are you listening? Is anything, how as a parent do I know if I'm really getting through to them?
It's adjusting to that change. First of all, a parent's voice is always very important. That's the voice that will live in their head forever. So, and that starts earlier on. And in adolescence, it looks different. So they may not respond right away. They may be snarky at times because there's so many things going on in their body. And it's about approaching your style differently. So it's about being there and not there at the same time and sending the message to your child, I'm here.
Right.
I will be here when you need me. Maybe it's offering comfort, like, do you want a nice lunch? Did you want to go out to dinner together?
Right.
Did you want to go for a jog? Did you want to watch a movie?
Right.
And that's when you can kind of, as long as you're there, your teen can then say, I have a question about XYZ.
Right.
Or might feel more comfortable talking to you. As long as you're the stable one and say, I'm here, then your teen can go away and come back.
Right.
And that's what you want.
That's the important, that's it. They can go away and come back.
Right.
Because I know when my child, when they were both younger, I would say to them, and I think it's if you're a single parent out there or you are co-parenting with someone and you don't necessarily live together, there are some rules like you may confide in me, but I'm going to share this with my co-parent. And what I used to do is I knew they wanted to say something serious when they would sit in the back seat. There was something about that face-to-face eye contact that was uncomfortable for all of us, but somehow when they sat behind me, that invisible wall kind of gave them liberty to speak more freely. How do we create that space short of getting in the car or on the subway or the crosstown?
Walks.
A long walk.
Right? Or if you're watching a movie or the news together. There is something about direct eye contact that can feel confrontational even though it's not.
Sure.
So, and they even say if you stay up late, your child's defenses are a little bit lower, so they might be more inclined to talk to you about things they may not talk to you otherwise about. I'm nocturnal, so that worked out well for me.
Right.
And just realizing that their struggle is where they should be, and where we need to be is remind ourselves, even though it may not feel pleasant, we will be there for them, and this is a phase, and like all phases, it changes.
Especially when you started off the article, the interview, you said, our conversation, you want them to do this now and not when they're 40.
Right.
Because then we've failed. We've not helped our children evolve into fully formed.
Or they were too afraid to.
They were too afraid.
So it's really important they're doing it at the right time.
Yeah.
And you make space for it and let them know you're there no matter what.
Right. So a little deep dive. According to a national poll, 82% of parents said they would talk to their adolescent child if they believed their child were facing some sort of adversity or problem. But only 1 in 4 felt that their teen would confide in them if they were experiencing an issue. Only 1 in 4, which is a lot and a little scary. How do we still protect our teens when they don't want to confide in us?
Well, you can remind them that regardless of what they're going through, as bad as it is, you have their back. You will be there for them.
Right.
And so I think that's a really strong message. You're not there to punish them. You are there to support them. Sure. Even if there's an argument or disagreement, you are there no matter what. And if you send that message, it makes it easier for your child to come to you when they might feel embarrassed, ashamed of themselves, or they're trying to work out their own thoughts and feelings themselves. Sometimes they don't have words for their feelings.
Right. That's exactly right. And speaking of words, are there specific words as parents when we are communicating with our teens that we should avoid or maybe use? Or, you know, I always would start with, instead of, how was school? Fine. I would start with, what'd you have for lunch? Because at least then I know you're going to give me something to, I had ham and cheese.
Who doesn't want to talk about food, right?
But are there some words that we should be using? Because I know words have meaning.
Yeah, and it's also style.
Yeah.
So you want to be as non-confrontational as you can. You want to listen. You want to search for the feeling.
Right.
You know, like you can say, I hear you're struggling right now. I can tell you need some space right now. So it's respecting their emotional experience. And again, it's a reminder, I understand you. I'm trying to understand you. I had a patient, he's an adult, and he said his mother said to him, I don't know the adult you. And I thought that was such a brilliant question, right? To admit that and to ask, and it helped my patient say to himself, you know, I really need to talk more.
Right.
I need to say more.
Right. Unbelievable.
Because adolescence sometimes is extended.
Sometimes it is extended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, because then we can talk to people like you, psychotherapists, Dr. Robi Ludwig. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise.